Are you recording? Great. Today it's New Year's Eve 2017, and this is my annual summary of the books I read during the year. First of all, why do I do this? Well, because I think that everything works against reading books nowadays. You are constantly attached to your feed, and so I want to try to put some effort into actually reading books. So that's why I do this summary for myself. Fiction. Clicking Beat on the Brink of Nada by Keith Hale. Nowadays it's also published as Cody. It was written in 1985. The person who wrote it was only 16 years old when he started writing it. It received a lot of prizes, and it also was banned in the UK by Margaret Thatcher. This is an amazing book. I can really recommend it. I was so emotionally taken away by it. Gabriella Håkansson, Aldermanns arvinge. A brick, as you can see, and I hate bricks. I don't like long books, and I don't like historical novels. So I must say, well done, Gabriella, because this is a great book on the theme of beauty in the 19th century in London. Unni Drougge, Förkunnaren, another Swedish book. Very entertaining, although it's it's basically a character assassination of a living artist. So I'm a bit skeptical about that, but nevertheless it was fun to read. And before I get to this one, let me just say that as ebooks, I read Kazuo Ishiguro, Never Let Me Go, an amazing book by this year's Nobel Prize winner, and Ernest Cline, Ready Player One, which will become a movie by Steven Spielberg in March next year, 2018. Fantastic read. I mean, really amazing. You read it in one sitting almost. It's like the ultimate book for the computer game generation, full of references that I got some of them. And speaking about references, this is 2023 by the Justified Ancients of Mumu. You know, the guys who were KLF back in the 90s. And actually, you know, if you read most of the books by Robert Anton Wilson, you will appreciate this because or at least I thought so, because it's full of references to his books. But to be honest, this is a disappointment. It's quite of a bore, actually, at least in the end. And the last book was an audiobook, Per Hagman, Allas, älskare, ingens, älskling, which I read as an audiobook while biking through southern Sweden for a few days. Very good book. It was my first Hagman, despite he is my generation's author, so to speak. All right, let's continue with non-fiction. Edvard Brongersma, Das verfemte Geschlecht. So this one is actually a book on sexual politics written in 1961. Controversial back then, unthinkable now, I guess. On the same subject, Eva-Carin Gerö, Grekisk, eros, a Swedish professor of ancient Greek and Greece. This is sort of a history book coupled with her personal observations, so it's more like a personal essay. I would even compare her to German Greer. And okay, this is quite a special book because it's I bought it for €50. It's from 1925. Georg Grosz and Wieland Herzfelde. Die Kunst ist in Gefahr. So this is actually a book that was banned by the Nazis and burned by the Nazis. So it's a rare copy. It's very thin. It's like an essay on art. Very good. I don't understand why it was banned. Another German book, Otto Rahn, Kreuzzug gegen den Gral, Die Geschichte der Albigenser. So Otto Rahn, he was the guy who the Nazis sent out to find the Holy Grail or to do research in that area. And in 1933, he published this book about his findings. It's extremely interesting. However, Otto Rahn was gay, and in 1939, when he realized what the Nazis actually were up to and who he was working for, he committed suicide. And the last book in the non-fiction is Alain de Botton, Religion for Atheists. This came out in 2012, and I read it now, and it's so amazing. It points out the point with religion and how religions have managed to describe our human condition, so to speak, and help us cope with that. We sort of miss that today because we have despised religions without actually realizing that they had some points. So that was a non-fiction, and let's just end with the mangas I read. Endou Hiroki, All-Rounder Meguru, about the MMA sport Shuto. This is for adults because it's without furigana. And Kurumatani Haruko, my favorite mangaka. This is called Saikyou Kareshi, about it's 3 short stories about terrible boyfriends. And this is on karate, Hansa Sky 1 and 2. I just read these after buying them in Tokyo. I didn't know what it was, but it was very interesting. I read up a bit on the author, and he apparently committed suicide when he was 34. And I don't know why, but it sort of makes the manga he drew more exciting. And the last one was something that someone sent me in the mail, so I actually read it in English, otherwise I read them in Japanese. Banana Fish, number 19, set in a prison setting. I think it's a bit shonenai, yaoi, or bordering on it at least. It was pretty entertaining actually, and so that was what I read in 2017. Now I wish you all Happy New Year.